I'm really Ward and welcome to my review for Confessions as part of the Asian Extreme movies. I watched this movie last night. I lent it from my friend on Blu-ray, and I gotta say this movie was so well done. It actually gave me the goosebumps, and I have to recommend this highly and just talk about it. So let's talk about Confessions.
Why did you black out the sun?
The storyline follows a teacher that's lost her daughter in a supposed accident, and we soon come to realise that student A and student B have plotted an actual murder against the actual teacher and taking that out on the actual daughter as a way of teaching her a lesson in a sense. And the movie follows a series of confessions by the actual teacher from the actual killers of the students, and so on and so forth. And it's basically just kind of point of view segments within a kind of an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40-minute movie, and it's done fantastically well, really fantastic. This is a revenge movie like Oldboy or any of the movies out there, but it's a very different one. It's a very smart one. It's not just a simple I'm going to kill you in a sense. It's more than that. It's basically I'm going to break your spirit and I'm going to make you live with it in the rest of your life. It's that type of psychological thriller with a bit of horror like themes in it in a sense. Excellently executed, well acted, fantastic cinematography, well done, kind of point of view segment scenes. I love the confessions of the actual killers, the confessions of the scenes that they're imagining out. I love that the scope of it. It's really fantastic, and I love how they show that guilt of it and they show the scope and the reasonings, and just we find out more information. It's more plot building. The first, I think, if I remember correctly, 20 minutes of the movie or 15 minutes odd is the confession of the main teacher. Telling the plot, of what happened. She's in a classroom, a bunch of students are there. Typical kind of students, troublemakers. Not really listening, don't really care. On their phones, whatever. Basically, take the piss out of her. And she's telling a story of how her daughter was found in the pool, pretty much dead, and they saying it was an accident. But she soon come to realise over the coming months of her kind of investigation, in the sense that she's found that student A and student B, which I'm not going to say for spoiler reasons, but that's how she kind of announces it in the class, done a certain way of luring her daughter and basically killing her in a sense, and it's done extremely really well. And I love the execution of how she presented that in class, and I love how she did it. She is going to take her revenge, but she doesn't want to go to the police. There's no point, because it's the idea of a 13-year-old it's been classed as a minor and will not get the death sentence. They will not be put in prison. They will get prosecuted. So a 13-year-old can technically do murder and practically get away with it in a sense. And that's what she comes to realise. There's no point going through the usual channel of the system. She chooses a very different way, a very devious way. And in all fairness, I back her of one way or another. And we find out more about her as the movie goes along, and of course the victims and the killers and all that stuff, and we find out more the reasonings behind it, and their tragic background, and it's more about connections. It's more like that equals this, that equals that. We find out some of the killers, the students in a sense, their abusive parents, abusive parents kind of thing. We find what's going on in their home life, them being bullied, and it's very interesting from start to finish. I was ripped by this movie, really. It's a very good social message on the idea of the actual school system. I really feel for the teacher's character and what she's going through, and you can definitely tell she is seriously pissed. And we found out more about the actual daughter and about her husband, all that type of stuff, and I love some of the threats and some of the things she plans. It's just really fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Definitely quite a violent movie for a 15. There's definitely some nasty scenes in it for sure, and the movie definitely builds up and it definitely gets epic for sure. And I like the final act of the movie. Definitely was a bit of a hallelujah kind of thing. Absolutely fantastic, really solid movie. I don't want to say too much, mainly because of spoiler reasons. There's not much I can say that will tell you anymore. I just want to say, if you like Oldboy, if you like proper revenge movies, like psychological thrillers, different ones that basically, not just want to kill you, but in a sense want to break you, like those type of movies, they're slow burning, but in a sense they do massively build up. Those type of movies, and a good movie that has a social message in it and has actual characters, actual people going through things, and and by the end of it, in this sense, you're not quite sure who to feel sorry for. There's definitely characters that definitely deserve what they got, but it's the end of it, it's like that connects to that, and that connects to that, and it's like, who's the real bad guy in this sense? That's been my review for Confessions. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. What did you think of the movie? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's better? Any opinions? Comment down below. So in the meantime, Andrew from Media from Good TV. Signing out.